Nestled in the heart of the Great Lakes region, Detroit, Michigan, stands as a city steeped in rich history and resilience. Known as the Motor City, Detroit's legacy is deeply intertwined with the automobile industry, a testament to American ingenuity and industrial prowess. As you stroll through its streets, you can almost hear the echoes of the assembly lines that once roared with the promise of progress and innovation. Detroit's skyline, a blend of historic grandeur and modern ambition, tells the story of a city that has faced its fair share of challenges but continues to rise from the ashes. The iconic Renaissance Center towers above the Detroit River, symbolizing a beacon of revitalization and hope. Alongside it, Art Deco masterpieces like the Guardian Building and the Fisher Building offer a glimpse into the opulence of the early 20th century. And this is where our story takes place. This wasn't the first time her husband had tried to kill her. Sandy Duyst had survived an attempt before. Many would question why she continued a relationship with him if he had tried to murder her. It's unthinkable. And it was a decision that unfortunately ended up costing her her life. Sandra Duyst, 40, was married to David Duyst Sr., a prosperous insurance salesman. The couple lived in Michigan with their 3 children. High school sweethearts, they tied the knot after graduating from Calvin College in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Eventually, they moved to Alpine Township, where Sandy, a world-class equestrian, could live out her passion for raising and training horses. The Duyst household seemed picture-perfect to outsiders. Yet beneath the surface, a dark reality loomed. Sandy's love for David, their shared history, and her dedication to their family made her believe in a future where things could improve. She hoped her forgiveness and endurance would lead to change. But the reality was different. The control and manipulation exerted by David became increasingly severe, his jealousy and possessiveness growing darker. Sandy's devotion to her horses and her children became her sanctuary, a small piece of normalcy in an otherwise turbulent life. Despite the previous attempt on her life, Sandy stayed, driven by hope and fear in equal measure. She clung to the belief that love could conquer all, even as her world became more perilous with each passing day. On the 19th of November 1998, a neighbor was alarmed by a persistent knock on their front door. Upon opening it, they were confronted with a distressing scene. Sandy Duyst, their neighbor, was severely injured and bleeding. She recounted how she had crawled from her barn to their home seeking help, having been kicked in the head by one of her horses. Upon arrival at the hospital, Sandy repeated her account to medical staff, her words strained with pain and urgency. However, those close to her noticed a marked change following her cranial injuries. Friends and family observed her grappling with deepening depression, and her relationship with her husband, David, began to deteriorate, leading to them sleeping apart. Tragically, Sandy remained unaware until shortly before her death of a bitter truth. David was engaged in an affair with Linda Ryan, his secretary. This illicit relationship took a deadly turn when they conspired that Sandy needed to be permanently removed from their lives. Initially, investigators concluded that Sandy Duyst's death on the 29th of March 2000 was a suicide, a narrative seemingly corroborated by David. He alerted emergency services to discover his wife deceased in their bedroom from an apparent gunshot wound. Beside her lay a Smith & Wesson 9mm semi-automatic pistol registered under David's name. Yet, forensic analysis revealed a lack of gunshot residue or blood spatter on Sandy's hands. The coroner's findings revealed not one, but 2 gunshot wounds, unequivocally undermining any notion of self-infliction. Adding weight to suspicions, high-velocity blood spatter matching Sandy's forensic profile was discovered on David's shirt. His explanation, that she had coughed on him while he checked on her, raised more questions than answers. Behind the scenes of this tragedy lurked a substantial life insurance policy worth $500,000, slated to pay out in the event of Sandy's suicide. David stood to gain immensely from her death, retaining their shared home, collecting the insurance windfall, and evading potentially costly alimony payments from a contentious divorce. Moreover, he could now openly embrace his relationship with Linda Ryan, his secretary, free from marital constraints. But Sandy, even in death, was not silenced. Her sister, Mary Ellen Spring, stepped forward with a crucial revelation. In 1999, Sandy had confided in Mary Ellen, instructing her that if anything happened to her, there was a letter concealed in the china cabinet of the Duyst home. True to Sandy's words, police located the letter exactly where she had indicated, addressed to Mary Ellen. In a poignant and damning declaration, Sandy adamantly asserted in her letter, "I could never, ever take my own life. Never. If anything happens to me, please take a closer look at David Duyst. He could be my killer." Shockingly, Sandy revealed that the supposed horse-kicking incident was a cover-up. In truth, during a dispute over finances in the barn, David had violently attacked her with an axe hammer. Her words, penned by her own hand, laid bare the chilling truth. If harm befell her again, David was responsible. Armed with this new evidence, authorities moved swiftly. David Duyst was arrested and charged with the murder of his wife. The autopsy findings, detailing 2 distinct bullet trajectories, provided crucial forensic support to the emerging narrative that Sandy's death was a meticulously planned homicide, not a tragic suicide. As the trial unfolded, David Duyst attempted to deflect mounting evidence against him. He sought to explain the second gunshot as a double fire from the gun, suggesting a mechanical malfunction. However, thorough testing of the firearm debunked this theory, affirming its proper functionality. Jeffrey Crump, a firearms examiner with the Michigan State Police and the prosecution's expert witness, testified definitively after multiple test firings that the gun operated without fault. Further reinforcing the case for homicide, forensic medicine experts Stephen Cole and Vincent DeMaio independently analyzed Sandy Duyst's wounds. Their conclusion was unequivocal. Each gunshot would have immediately incapacitated her, rendering it implausible for Sandy to have fired the fatal shots herself. This expert consensus starkly contrasted with David's defense of suicide. Crime scene reconstruction specialist Rod Englert's testimony provided crucial insight. He affirmed that the positioning of Sandy's body and the trajectory of the fatal shots were consistent with someone firing from behind her, undermining any suggestion that Sandy could have been the shooter. During his testimony, David Duyst made startling claims. He asserted that Sandy had allegedly attempted suicide on multiple occasions prior to her death.
David, as far as I'm concerned, my Christmas is over, my life is over, and you can go on without me. I don't know what else to say. Enjoy your work, enjoy your life.
Nothing was ever good. Everything was always bad. That kind of mindset. That's what she thought, that's what she said, that's how she expressed herself.
Citing her documented struggles with severe depression. David further stated that at the time of her demise, Sandy was aware of his desire for divorce and his intent to seek custody of their children, a narrative aimed at casting doubt on his motive for murder. However, as the trial progressed, the weight of forensic evidence and expert testimony painted a damning portrait. David Dyst's actions and motivations came under intense scrutiny, ultimately leading the court to consider him responsible for the calculated murder of his wife, Sandy Duyst. Following the unraveling of events surrounding Sandy Dyst's tragic death, attention turned to Linda Ryan, whose involvement was questioned during the investigation. Linda disclosed to authorities that she and David Duyst had made plans to leave their respective spouses and start a new life together. Her commitment to this plan was underscored by her divorce from her husband and her active pursuit of an engagement ring at the time of Sandy's death. In defense of David Duyst, attorney F. Martin Tiber argued vigorously, relying on forensic evidence he believed would exonerate his client. Blood spatter expert Herbert McDonnell, notable for his role in the O.J. Simpson trial, testified that the high-velocity spatter found on David's clothing could feasibly result from Sandy coughing up blood, casting doubt on the prosecution's narrative. Tiber further defended David's actions, highlighting that large life insurance policies taken out by insurance professionals on their spouses were not uncommon. David's passing of a polygraph test was also presented as evidence of his innocence. In a bold move, defense attorney David Dodge even asserted that Sandy had deliberately shot herself twice, framing her husband in a final act of desperation. The Duyst children played a pivotal role in the trial, providing testimony in support of their father's innocence. Two of the children recalled hearing two distinct noises from their parents' bedroom shortly before their mother's death, consistent with David's account. However, subtle details in their testimonies inadvertently bolstered the homicide theory, such as their recollection of their mother's normal demeanor prior to her death and her known fear of firearms. In March of 2001, David Duyst Sr. was convicted of his wife's murder and sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole.
Being in agreement, find that the defendant David Duyst is, as to count one, guilty of murder in the first degree.
I am the best expert witness in this entire case because I know what I did and I know what I did not do that morning. I am innocent and I will maintain my innocence for the rest of my life.
Additionally, he received a felony conviction for firearm possession during the commission of a felony. Despite filing numerous appeals and claims of ineffective counsel, David's efforts to overturn his conviction were unsuccessful. The Michigan Court of Appeals consistently denied his appeals, and he passed away in 2008 while incarcerated at the Saginaw Correctional Facility at the age of 58. The case of Sandy Dyst's murder stands as a stark reminder of the complexities within relationships, the pursuit of justice, and the enduring impact on those left behind.